gang, this is Brad Dalton with the Best Self Podcast. Hey, just want to give you a quick shout. Today is our first episode of the Best Fit series. And this came about, I had a lot of people demanding this. A lot of people asking, Brad, what could you do for our kiddo? They're getting ready to go to college, or they're going to be going to college before we know it. And I had a lot of players from different sports, volleyball, football, basketball, lacrosse, you name it, saying, could you do anything for this? And I said, absolutely. So what we've lined up for you is an 8-week series. And with this 8-week series, we're going to try to get to all your questions. And what's the best fit? At the end of the day, what is the best fit? That's what you're gunning for. It's not what's on your chest. The name on your chest isn't going to be super relevant. It's not going to be about D1, D2, D3, JC, NAI. It's going to be about finding the best fit for you to spend the next X amount of years of your life growing as a human being and being the best version of you. That's what this is about. So got Nelson Gord coming up. And when you're done here, I would encourage you, please text the word recruit, R-E-C-R-U-I-T, recruit, to the number 797979. That's 797979, recruit. If you want to get more information on this stuff, and I would encourage you not to do this on your own. It really does take a village, and you'll ease a lot of the stress in your lives if you get help. I appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great day. Take care. Welcome to the Best Self Podcast. Today we've got Nelson Gord of NCSA, also head coach at Harper College in Illinois. The pride of Palatine, Illinois. Big city over there. Big timer.
Thriving metropolis.
That's right. Before we get going, I'd really like to thank all of our listeners. We just keep shooting up. We've got 23 different countries. I want to thank Algeria for joining last night, and 230 plus cities across the United States and North America. So thank you guys very much. This is the first episode of the Best Fit series on the Best Self Podcast, and we thought it would be fitting to have Nelson Gord here, one of the leads at NCSA in recruiting, has a humongous background with coaching and on the recruitment end. He's seen both ends of it, high school, college, everything. So really, really excited to have you here, buddy.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to find that best fit for everyone.
Yes, for sure. And that's really what it's about, right? I mean, most kids, I coached a lot of years as well, and I found that a lot of kids got caught up in a label. A lot of everyone wants to be a D1 guy, and they might look at a JC versus an NAI or D3. A lot of people get caught up in the name on their chest as opposed to the best fit. Would you say that's pretty accurate?
Yeah, undoubtedly so, and especially early on in the recruiting process, you can't fault people for their ignorance. I mean, when you turn on the television, when you've grown up watching the college football bowl games and the NCAA tournament, the College World Series, it's no wonder that they gravitate towards that.
Right.
But what they don't really understand is the number of schools that are out there, schools that have the majors that student athletes are looking for, that have the community, that have all the amenities that they're really thriving to be a part of. And they couldn't even tell you the name of the school right now. But once they start digging in, they see, just how many options there really are.
Right. And there are a ton of options. Could you just run us through real quick? We've got COVID going on right now. Would you say that the importance of organizations such as yourself, NCSA, the importance of video and communications, would you say that it's kind of put a highlighter over all the things that you guys already found important?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been with NCSA for just about 7 years, and the company as a whole, we're celebrating our 20th year anniversary. So 2020 was a big year in our books already, and it's been for many reasons, one that none of us will ever forget. But everything that we were talking about then, the things that you just touched on, the video, having a profile, being able to communicate with college coaches, has just been amplified by this, right? Because the high school season was wiped out. And some places they're starting to get back into the travel or the summer schedules now. But even with that, we're still in a dead period at the Division I level, a quiet period with the D2s. A lot of Division III programs are not allowing their coaches to go out. So there has to be alternative means by which to find players and recruit players. So, we've seen a huge spike in an already successful model and, platform that we have, just because guys are sitting like you and me,
Right.
On their computers, and that's how they're recruiting rather than sitting out at a ball field.
Right. One thing that I've found incredible with you guys is just how connected you are. I mean, this world is about connections, about relationships, and I call that the true power grid, really. And I hadn't really tied it to recruiting. I mean, it could be for a business, it could be for athletics. I hadn't really thought about it a lot until recently, but it's incredible how connected you guys are. I mean, everybody is connected to NCSA. Everybody. You want to get a hold of Oregon State, you hop on your program and it's got everybody on their staff. You want to get a hold of Harper College, you're going to be on there. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are. You guys are so connected. Can you describe what's the discovery process look like for a kid out there? He could be a freshman, he could be a senior. I guess that's kind of a broad question because it might look different for a senior than it does look for a freshman.
Sure.
But generally speaking, what does the discovery process look for you guys, and how can NCSA help with that?
Yeah, I think you said it. It's not just freshmen versus seniors. I think every child, every family has their own unique set of circumstances and preferences that they have. And I think that's the real beauty of it, is that we're able to combine data, the algorithms that we have in place with our relationships, and not only relationships from our staff to the college coaches, but really probably equally as important, our staff to the families, right? So when they come on board as NCSA member, there is this process, this due diligence that goes on, and families and the athletes are entering in their information, but there's also phone calls that happen, and there's notes that are being taken, and there's video that's being evaluated. And I think really that's the power of it, is combining those elements, because either the two on their own, either the technology or the relationships, they serve a valuable purpose, but it's just, it's a multiplied effect when you utilize both ends of it.
Yeah, for sure. What would you say the most common misconceptions are of recruiting? If you could list like three.
You're saying as recruiting as a whole, or what NCSA does? And
well, I mean, I'll list an example. One out there from my end anyways, that kids and families just assume that coaches are just going to come to them, which, as you know, that really doesn't happen that much, especially if you're in a smaller populated area.
Yeah, undoubtedly true. And I think when we're looking at the industry, and what I mean by that is just youth athletics and high school sports as a whole, we've seen this huge growth, this huge spike, a lot of specialization, so the sea is so full of fish, of athletes, that it's impossible, even with 1,600 plus schools that play baseball, it's impossible for them to get out and see everyone. And it's very rare that they're going to go out to a place without a person in mind to see, right? They're not just throwing darts at a dartboard or throwing darts at a map and going out to places. They're being very specific and strategic when they do actually go out to recruit in person with who they're after and, the reasons for being out there.
Sure. Are there any other common questions or common false paradigms like that families have on how this whole thing works?
Yeah, well, I think there's really two things, and they compete with each other, but they're the major two issues. The first is they see a lot of these high profile 14, 15U athletes, kids that are entering their freshman year that are verbally committing to some of the Power 5 schools, and they feel like they're behind, right? And I don't think if you talk to any college coach, talk to a lot of the families that, they really feel good about it. And if you look at the statistics around how many of those actually play out as planned, it's not a very pretty picture.
Right. Yeah.
So you have this one segment of the population that is speeding things up. And then on the opposite end, and it kind of goes along with what you said, there's this waiting game that others play. It's like, oh, I'm going to wait to get a little bit bigger, faster, stronger. I'm going to wait till I'm a varsity athlete. I'm going to wait until my junior year. And waiting's not the answer either.
Right.
And it's not a matter of getting a scholarship offer or, really being heavy on the recruiting side early. It's just about educating yourself and seeing the opportunities and getting a feel for where you might fit. And then also, tying your goal setting and everything else to that, right? If you know as a freshman that you need a certain GPA, a certain test score, you need to throw, X number of miles an hour and run this fast.
Right.
You have a little bit of a clearer target, and you can put together a plan that's going to help you get there a lot easier.
Yeah. Amen to that. Totally. So we've only got about 5 minutes left. Appreciate you being here with us, by the way. I know you're a busy dude. Some of the common things that you hear from college coaches, you get in touch with them, and the first thing they say, the first two most common from what I've experienced, is they want to see you, and then they always send you a questionnaire.
Yep.
So just going to cover two more things that we're gonna bolt. With the video end of it, what would you suggest a kiddo do in regards to video? Like, how does that work? What do they need to do, and how does someone like you help them with that? How does that guidance process happen?
Sure. Well, I mean, every athlete in any sport has, their strengths and weaknesses. So I would definitely recommend putting whatever your most positive attributes are at the beginning of the video. So if you're a speed guy, showing yourself going home to first, running the 60, going first to third, doing something that, really accentuates that. Power guy, obvious, take some batting practice, but make sure that, that first 5, 10, 15 seconds is going to grab that coach and encourage them to continue watching. Right. So I wouldn't do a one size fits all, a cookie cutter approach. Make sure it highlights what makes you you. So I think that's definitely an important piece, and don't make it too long. I pulled up something, or I tweeted out something a few weeks back, and in the travel program that I run, we've had thousands upon thousands of hours of videos viewed of our players, competing in their skills videos, and the average watch time was about 47 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so that should tell you something right there. So really, that video, it's not a keepsake, it's not a memento. It's your elevator pitch. It's your commercial about you.
Yep. Yeah, that's great feedback. And so the last thing I'd ask is, these kids, they get those questionnaires. How do you turn a questionnaire into a conversation?
So by virtue of filling out a questionnaire, you're going to be entered into the recruiting database, and you're probably going to get camp invites and random messages throughout the year, which is all great, right? And in some cases, you might be inundated with them, but research the school and then follow up beyond the questionnaire, right? Having that layered approach and completing the information so that you're in the database, but then a few days later, sending an email or making a telephone call to the coach and saying, hey, coach, just want to let you know that I filled out the questionnaire. I've looked into the school. There's some questions I might have, or some things that really piqued my interest. I think that's what separates people, because it's really easy to do the first part without anybody on the other end of it.
Right.
But taking that next step in cultivating and laying the foundation for that relationship is a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that I've been told with NCSA anyway. I know there's a lot of different avenues out there, but I know that I've been told that people that have gone through y'all, they like that they're talking to experts. I mean, they're people like you, and I've talked to others that are going through NCSA, and they all feel like they're talking to someone that's not just lip service, like your actions match your words. So I personally really appreciate that, because I know that as a coach for years, I had so many different organizations approach me, and I'm sure you were the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So many different organizations approach me wanting me to help host stuff or wanting me to endorse their stuff. And some of them were just awful. They were bad, and they were misleading. That's probably the part that disgusted me the most. They were so misleading for kids. And this series is called the Best Fit series. It's not called the Best Label series, or our wants and our needs aren't always the same thing. And sure. I know that you guys aren't just going to give them lip service. You're going to be straight up with them. You're going to have clarity. And anyway, I really appreciate that about you guys. Yeah. Could you, real quick, if you're looking to get a hold of Coach Gord here, you can get a hold of him at ngord@harpercollege.edu. If you've really enjoyed listening to him today, he is the coach at Harper College. It's a 2-year in Illinois, and that's a whole different episode on some of the misconceptions on what a 2-year is. As you know, there's tons of D1 talent playing 2 years, and anyway, that's a whole different episode. But Nelson, what would be the greatest or the most effective way to get a hold of NCSA if someone's listening today and they're hungry and they want to look and dive a little deeper and get a little more organized in this whole process? How could they get a hold of you guys?
Yeah, well, you can always go right to our website at ncsasports.org. If you want to take it a step further and be connected with our team of recruiting specialists, text the word recruit. So just RECRUIT. Text that word to the number 797979, and I'll make sure that gets in the right hands so that you can speak with someone. Usually the first step in the process is going through a recruiting assessment where we walk you through some of the tools and then see what your family's needs are. And it's just a great first step. And at a minimum, it gets your profile verified so college coaches can then search it. Yeah,
very cool. So text recruit to 797979 and get the ball rolling. And I would encourage all of you not to try to do this alone. It is a lot. And I can tell you that, like anything in life, success loves preparation, and it takes a village. And to try to do this all by yourself is really difficult. And it can be really stressful. I've seen, and Nelson, I'm sure you can vouch, there's a lot of recruits that hate this process, and families get so stressed out. And so that's why I always encourage people, and I'm the same way with anything in life. If I don't know how to cook good Mexican food, I'm going to go talk to someone who can cook good Mexican food. Or if I don't know recruiting, I'm going to go talk to Nelson Gord or somebody who knows what they're doing. You can't go alone on this. So anyway, man, I really appreciate you hopping on board. I know you're a busy dude, and I hope you guys get something out of this.
Thank you for having me, and look forward to speaking with a lot of you.